is CERN learning anything from ancient Egypt?
Yeah.
CERN being, can you describe what CERN is?
Sure. CERN is the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider. It's the largest machine in the world, located in Switzerland, and it's all underground, and it uses this gigantic track with this underground tube that's connected, and they send atoms in opposite directions and speed them up to, a percentage of the speed of light, and then let them collide. And then they analyze the collision to see what comes out of this collision between atoms, quarks and muons and everything else that they discover. But something else they discover in the process is that they create microscopic black holes. Now,
really?
Yeah. So originally, a lot of people were getting scared about this because they were like, man, if you guys create a black hole here on Earth, will it suck the Earth in? I mean, kind of fair to assume, like, black holes are supposed to be pretty deadly things. Even light can't escape them. Mm-hmm. So why create one here on Earth? But I think, in my opinion, again, this is nothing that I've read, but my hypothesis is that part of the work going on at CERN is to learn how to create stable wormholes. What Einstein and Rosen called an Einstein-Rosen bridge, where you take space and you fold it and make a hole, punch a hole in between to make a connection, a shortcut through space-time. And so it could be learning or trying to experiment, either by accident or on purpose, how to create a stable wormhole. How do you create one and hold it open? The biggest thing is holding it open.
Hold on. Let's backtrack. Yeah. I'm slow. So I don't have a degree in astrophysics, and I don't have anything from MIT or Harvard. So you're talking about you're folding space and creating a hole through it. So I'm envisioning.
Yeah. You take a piece of paper.
Dr. Greer kind of showed me this, I think.
You just bend it like this.
Bend it like this.
And if you had a pencil, you could poke a hole right through. So you can go from point A to point B. Instead of traveling over the length of that sheet of paper to get from point A to point B, you now just arrive at point B almost instantaneously.
Okay.
You see? And Einstein and another professor, a theoretical physicist named Rosen, they call it the Einstein-Rosen bridge, was a theoretical name for this type of hypothesis on how to create a wormhole, or what a wormhole would be, how it would operate, how it would work. The biggest problem that we have is not creating the wormhole now, because we can create them, but how do you keep it open? How do you make it stable for something to pass through without collapsing? Now, NASA recently discovered something called X points around Earth and also around the sun. These are naturally occurring portals that open and close every single day all around the outside of our planet. The Themis satellite system discovered these portals a few years back, and they've been analyzing and watching them. Some of them create direct pathways to the sun and even to other planets in our solar system. So these are called X points. They exist all around the outside of our planet. They're where magnetic diffusion points hit and cross, like our magnetic fields hit and cross. In some way, combining that crossing of electromagnetic fields with charged particles from the sun opens up a portal. So portals naturally can occur in nature. You don't have to make them artificially. So that's pretty interesting. All we have to do now is learn how to harness that power, and we can travel through space, and we can go great distances without having to put ourselves in hibernation pods and things like that. Mm-hmm. But now what's interesting is you look at some of the pyramid structures and also read the ancient texts. If you go to one of the Sumerian tablets, they talk about having something called a Du-Ran Ki. It was called a bond heaven-earth. And Enlil talks about walking from his home world directly to Earth and walking from Earth directly back to his home world, bypassing even getting in a spaceship. You go fast forward a little bit more, the ancient Egyptians talk about something called a Jed Pillar Ankh. They have a Jed connected to the inside of Ankh. People think the Ankh was like for decoration or represented rebirth and the womb of a woman and all that. It kind of did. Nowadays it's just decoration like jewelry. But it also represented something more technological in the ancient times. When you go to the super ancient texts, you discover that Ankh and that Jed were a oscillator that would resonate to the atomic frequency of the owner. That was the code programmed into the actual Ankh. The actual portal that they would walk through to travel wherever they were going, it would only let you walk through it if your frequency was programmed into the portal. That was your key. Without walking through with that, you would be obliterated. That's how they kept people from just getting into these portals only the elite of the elite had access to these portals to travel all around the world. There's one in Mexico, in Tula, Mexico, where Thoth the Atlantean, who came from Africa over there, he would stand there, and this looks like an indentation in the wall, and he would literally walk through it, and he would reappear somewhere else in the world, and he would come back from time to time and so forth. But again, he would have the Jed pillar Ankh in his hand. Then you look at Bosnia in Europe. There's a pyramid there called the Pyramid of the Sun. Just like the one, there's one in Mexico called the Pyramid of the Sun. There's one in Bosnia called the Pyramid of the Sun. It's massive. In this valley, there's like 5 massive pyramids, all covered with brush and trees and debris. Well, they started digging this thing out. They said, oh my God, these are solid stone blocks. There's tunnels underneath that are connecting the pyramids, the same exact tunnels that are in Teotihuacan in Mexico, connecting the pyramid structures there. But inside of this one tunnel, they found this gigantic crystal. It's called the K2 megalith. And on it is written in runes, an ancient writing. It says, we must stand in defense until we can open the gate. Well, what gate are they talking about? I believe they're talking about the Stargate, to get from wherever they were to get out of this war. There was a war going on. Again, that second pyramid war I told you about, it was a global war. It wasn't only global, it was interplanetary as well, because it went to the moon and also to Mars. But that's probably going to be another podcast. But the evidence of it is available in scientific data. But this K2 megalith, this gigantic crystal, it has something to do with activating the portal at this Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia, which at some point they were defending it and trying to thwart some people from getting access to it until they can get it activated so they can walk through themselves. Pretty interesting stuff. And this is well documented, the K2 megalith gigantic crystal. So CERN, in my opinion, is researching and learning about technologies that already existed. Again, we're just rediscovering everything. When you go to CERN, right outside the front door is this gigantic picture of this Indian god that is standing inside of a portal, walking through. So I think they kind of knew what they were going to be doing when they started this whole building and started this whole project, but they just kind of kept it low-key to the general public, and they only released tidbits of information as to what's going on. There was something interesting before we go on. There was a field trip of sorts where a tour to let people come in and look around, and as one person was looking around, they saw these gigantic clear panels. They don't know what material they were made out of, and I have a picture of them leaning up against the side of a part of the machine with these hieroglyphs on them. So they sent these hieroglyphs out. Everyone, including I've sent the hieroglyphs out. Nobody can decipher these hieroglyphs. Nobody knows what in the world these are, what they mean, where they came from, who wrote them, what writing, what ancient culture are they linked to. Nobody knows. Massive, giant, clear plates leaning up against the machine. I think it were 4 of them, if I remember correctly. Pretty interesting. I just thought that was a weird thing that, to happen there. But they have at the front door, gigantic portal, a representation of a portal with one of these ancient Indian gods walking through it.
What do you think they're doing with these mini black holes that you think that they're creating?
All experiments.
Have they documented this?
Yeah, they have. They have. Yeah. People were trying to stop them from doing it because it was going to destroy the planet and everything else, but they just kept working anyway. They didn't care. But they are just, in my opinion, learning about these creation of portals, learning how to create stable wormholes, just all experimenting, just trying to figure out what type of energy can we inject into one of these holes that will stabilize it, maybe even expand it. And where do they lead? Where do they go? Like when we go through them, where will we end up? Maybe they're sending small probes through or things through to take a look. Maybe they're sending nano probes into them. Who knows?
What do you think about this? Are you for this? You against this? What do you think?
This type of research without complete oversight, to me, is scary stuff, man. I mean,
me too.
You don't even know what can come through. Like, I do believe in life in other worlds and also life in even other dimensions. We know that based on theoretical physicists like Michio Kaku and many other well-respected physicists, that we're living in a universe based on 11 dimensions. They theorized based on the mathematics that without 11 dimensions, this universe would collapse. Hey everyone, this is Billy Carson, AKA Forbidden Knowledge. I want to tell you about an amazing online academy that I created in order to help people become the best version of themselves. If you're into self-improvement, if you're into financial literacy, entrepreneurship, ancient wisdom, all those amazing teachings. I put them all in one place. Over 150 hours of amazing teachings in one place called the Forbidden Knowledge Academy. You can simply get there by going to 4bkacademy.com.